Back to SR Technologies. In this video, I'm going to explain what is DevOps at very high level. But usually DevOps course will take 3 months time to complete. Even I will take 3 months time to complete either DevOps with AWS batch or DevOps batch. And one more thing I would like to announce from this video that I'm going to introduce AI assisted DevOps module from my new batch. For my new batch information, you can visit my website www.srtechhub.com, or you can call to the numbers which are displaying on the screen. So weekday batches are available, weekend batches and crash courses, fast track courses also available, both Telugu and English. Fine. Before starting today's topic, please subscribe my channel. You will get free cloud courses in my channel like AWS, Linux basics, self-scripting basics. Also, I'm going to upload Azure cloud videos also. And you will get DevOps interview question and answers series. Also, you will get general topics about IT industry and market trends and everything. Fine. Coming to today's topic, what is DevOps? So you might have heard that DevOps is a collaboration of development and operations. That is Dev plus Ops. So it's also true. It's a collaboration of development operations. In fact, it's not only development and operations, it's a collaboration of all the teams which are involving in software projects. Fine. And DevOps is not a programming language. DevOps is not a database. DevOps is not a technology. DevOps is a mindset. DevOps is a set of practices which will help you to automate the stages in your software project. Fine. Now, let me explain by drawing this diagram. So this is the Flipkart project. Let us assume that you got a Flipkart project. Your company got a Flipkart project and you are working on this project. Fine. As soon as you get the confirmation from Flipkart team, what you will do to start that project, your development team will write code. Your development team will start writing the code. Let us assume that client wants to develop this Flipkart application, do this Flipkart project in Java. Then what happens? Your Java development team will start writing the code. So this is development team. This development team, let us assume that 100 developers are there in your project. What this 100 developers will be doing, this 100 developers will be writing the Java code. 100 developers. Once they write the code, what they will do, if they keep that code in their laptops, no use. They need to build that code. For example, if they write some thousands of lines of code, what they need to do? They need to compile that code and they need to package that code. That means they need to create a jar files, war files. In regular sessions, I explain very clearly what is build process, what is jar file, what is war file and all these things. But here we don't have time to explain that build process. Just this called the compilation and the packaging to make a jar file or a war file is nothing but a build process. Who will do this build process? If development team do this build process, it will take a lot of time. They cannot complete the project within the timelines. So that is the reason DevOps team will come into the picture and DevOps team will do that build process. To do that build process, what development team will do? Development team will share that code with DevOps team. So how they will share? They will just push that code into Git repositories. So this is Git repositories. In this project, we can just take a Git server or GitHub. Yeah, this is Git repository. Just assume that these developers will push their code into this Git repositories. So that code will be stored in Git repositories like a versions. First developer code will store as a V1, second developer code as stored as V2 like this. So that is the reason we will call Git as a version control system. Fine. And one more thing you should remember here, they cannot share this code with normal shared folder in normal server. That is the reason they need to use this Git. They will use Git or Bitbucket like this. This repository name, let us assume that Flipkart.git. Every Git repository will have extension .git. Fine. Once they write the code, 100 developers write 100 .java files. Let's assume. So even they will write more than this. Fine. Once they push that code into this Git repositories, DevOps team will clone it. Clone means download. DevOps team will be here. Then what DevOps team will do? DevOps team will clone this code. Once they clone the code, so complete code will come here. Complete code means 100.java files will come here. With help of build tools, Maven kind of tools, DevOps team will build the code. Because we don't have programming skills, we don't have Java skills to work and do the build process. So that is the reason we will use build tool Maven. So actually, Maven will we will use Maven to build the code. It will just complete the build process. We can complete it before development team. If development team do build process manually, if it take 1 month time, DevOps engineer will take 1 week or 10 days time to complete the build process. Fine. Also, you should install Git here, because without Git you cannot communicate with this Git. Fine. So this is the DevOps team. Fine. Once we build the code, just assume that we build the code, we generated this build, flipkart.war file. War file is a build, war file or jar file, anything we can make it based on the requirement. Fine. Once we generate the build, what we need to do? We need to test that build. To test that build, we will just deploy that build in a test environment, server or servers. This is test environment. As a DevOps engineer, we should build that server. Fine. Here, we should install prerequisites first. First, we need OS, that means operating system. Then we should install Java or JDK, Java Development Kit. JDK means, that means this is the Java build. To run Java build, to test Java build up Java application, we should have Java. If you want to open Microsoft Word file, you should install MS Office in your laptop, right? Same thing. Yeah, fine. Again, Tomcat server. Tomcat server is a web application server. We need one web application server to run this application. Fine. Now, again, inside this Tomcat server, we will deploy this war file or build. Then we will start Tomcat server. Once you start Tomcat server, automatically your Flipkart application will start running. Then testing team will test this code. Until they reach 0 bugs, they will be testing this. Fine. Now, once they reach 0 bugs, what they will do? They will announce that build is stable. Once we get the confirmation from testing team that the build is stable, we need to take that build out and we should deploy in production environment. Fine. So this is test environment. Fine. This is test environment. Once we get the confirmation from this testing team that the build is stable, we'll build production environment like this, similar to this test environment. This versions and everything will use same. Yeah, versions of software prerequisites. Yeah, fine. Here also operating system and JDK. That means Java Development Kit. Whatever versions we used in the test environment, we'll use same thing here also. Then Tomcat server, then war file, flipkart.war, that is the application here. And yeah, here we'll start Tomcat server, then automatically our application will start running. Fine. So this is the end-to-end process. Fine. Now, just to automate these stages, DevOps engineer will use Jenkins. By using Jenkins, you can automate all these stages. How will automate? Just we explain at very high level now. Yeah. Now, what DevOps engineer will do? DevOps engineer will build one Jenkins server. That means we'll just install Jenkins in one server. That will become a Jenkins server. Yeah, this is Jenkins server. Here we will ask Jenkins, hey Jenkins, whenever there is a new code comes from this development team to this Git repository, you just go and clone means download and give it to Maven. Maven will build and Maven will generate this war file. Once you get war file, you just go and deploy in the test environment. Till here, the stage is called integration. Fine. Now, once we get the confirmation from the testing team that the build is stable, you just go and deploy in production environment. From test environment to production environment deployment is called real deployment. So that means we can just automate this process. We can just automate this integration and the deployment process by using Jenkins. That means it will be happening continuously without manual intervention. That is called a CI/CD. CI/CD means continuous integration or continuous deployment or delivery. In regular sessions, even in our demo session, I've explained very clearly. If you want, you can just go and watch that demo video. Fine. Now, again, here we'll just integrate, we'll just connect this test environment, production environment with the Jenkins server. Also, we'll just integrate Git with Jenkins prod environment. Fine. Again, here, see, if you use virtual server in test environment, once we get the confirmation from testing team, we need to follow all the steps in production environment. Also, we should install operating system, JDK, Tomcat server, we need to download and all these things. But if you use Docker container here, once we get the confirmation, we can just convert that Docker container into Docker image. Then everything will come to Docker image. Everything means whatever prerequisites and application or build is there in this Docker container, everything will come here. They will be bundled. Now, again, whenever you want to deploy in production environment, for example, if you want to deploy in 1,000 servers, container is a server, Docker container is a server. You can create 1,000 containers from this Docker image. So this is called application containerization. Fine. Also, since 1,000, it's very difficult to manage thousands of containers manually, then we will use Kubernetes here. Kubernetes is a container management tool or container orchestration tool. Here we will use Kubernetes. Here we will use Docker image. Fine. And one more thing you should remember, if you want to create multiple services or infrastructure, so usually we'll go with the cloud. So it's very difficult to create manually. That is the reason we will just, that means that infrastructure means everything will come under infrastructure, servers, containers, everything, Kubernetes, everything. Then we will use Terraform kind of tool for infrastructure management. Yeah, this is the flow base. That means I will just explain once again. I will repeat. So developer will write a code here. They will just push that code into Git repositories. From Git repositories, DevOps team will clone it, that means download by using Jenkins. Just then once we complete the build process, we'll get this build war file or jar file. Once we get that war file or jar file, we'll just deploy in test environment. So this is called integration. From cloning to deploy in test environment, this is called integration. Once we get the confirmation from testing team, then we will take that build out and we will just deploy in production environment. From test environment to production environment deployment is called real deployment or delivery. Delivery means there will be a manual intervention that we will just give yes or no. It will wait for our confirmation. Deployment means directly it will go and deploy. Fine. If you want a clear information, if you want a clear explanation, you can just watch our video in our channel, a demo video. Fine. Yeah. So this is DevOps guys. See you. And for cloud courses, please contact me. Yeah, once we deploy the code in production environment, we need to monitor that. We need to monitor that application which is in production environment, because if something goes wrong in production environment, it will impact on the business. So the operations teams will take care about this monitoring part. Also, SRE and DevOps engineer also responsibility for this production environment. Yeah. So this is end-to-end process of DevOps culture. Yeah. Please subscribe my channel to get more technical videos. Also, please like and share these videos. Thank you. Bye.